Okay. Let's change the settings over here. All right. TrueHoop in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hello, welcome to TrueHoop with me, Jarod, Hector, and Coach David Thorpe. How are you, sir?
Well, I was doing fine at first, but you're worried about my lighting as if anyone wants to see this fucking old mug. I told you I'm way better off in the shadows. As my mom told me when I was 21 years old, you have a face for radio. I told you that before.
Yeah.
And now I'm making sounds where I'm trying to drink water and like trying to stay hydrated, Jarod. I live in fucking the swampland. Alligators crawling in my porch right now. The sun never stops shining here.
What's the weather like today?
Hot, muggy. I mean, probably high 70s, but yeah, it'll be good for a swim.
Oh,
I swam in the rain yesterday. That was nice.
Okay, well, I know you'll be getting some swims in later for sure. Keeping yourself nice and healthy.
Doing my best.
We talked about last week that we bring back Ask Coach Thorpe so we can tap into Coach Thorpe's big basketball brain. And thank you again for everybody for sending in questions. Again, if you want to do that for future shows, the email is truehoop@truehoop.com. That is TRUEHOOP@truehoop.com. And we will do our best to get to as many of them as we can and answer them on air. All right, David, this first question comes from Adam in Orange County. This is about Tuesday night's game between the Clippers and the Nuggets. I just saw the Clippers help in quotation marks KCP miss a free throw in the fourth quarter by being synchronized and standing straight up after being bent over before he took the shot. Do you think that's effective? One, and then what are your favorite other non-scene tactics that have been employed to try to gain an advantage during free throws?
Wow. So first of all, let me say that I don't read the questions. I just know that they're there because I look at your outline. Because anyone can research anything. I'm supposed to be smart about basketball. You'll find out because I have no idea. So this question is about influencing the shooter. I did not see it, but it sounds like they bent over and stuff.
At the same time, synchronized.
Amazing. So when I was in high school, I've said this before, our head coach was a Bobby Knight kind of guy. They were friends. We're from Indiana. Not the most pleasant of guys. He actually wasn't the world's meanest man, but I was afraid of him for sure. He's one that told me when I told him my name in ninth grade is David Thorpe. He said, Thorpe? I said, yeah, like Jim Thorpe. He said, kid, the only thing you and Jim Thorpe have in common is you both have ears. That's why I use that quote all the time. I got it from fucking Ray Burkhart, who's long dead now. So he used to stand right next to us on the free throw line as we were doing like pressure free throws. Right. I mean, if you just twitched a little bit, you'd have elbowed him in the chest. He was small. And he would, as you bent down to shoot yours, he would bend down with you. and when you were young, it fucked you up. So I love that. I just saw someone the other day. I don't remember who it was, but a Pat Bev type of player. I mean that in a complimentary way. Just a pebble in your shoe kind of guy. Someone was going up to shoot a free throw, and he bumped him. Thomas Bryant was shooting the free throw. This was a few weeks ago. And the dude just bumped him, acted as if he did it on accident. And so I'm friendly with Thomas. Thomas reacts like, what the fuck, dude? And I'm channeling, like, focus, like, otherwise you let him win, right? He made the free throw, I was happy to say. But, yeah, stuff like that. You'll see hand stuff, and there's supposed to be some rules against that, but they'll try to find a way to do it. But mostly it's the talking, it's the comments you say. These guys have seen it all before. By the time you get to the NBA, mostly, man, they've made pressure free throws in middle school AAU, high school AAU, high school regular, college or Europe, pro. Yeah, it's. I've always believed, Jarod, that in football, for example, when you know how coaches will ice the kicker, I think it's a huge mistake. Huge mistake.
I've never heard you say this before. Okay, go ahead.
I've said it before, probably, maybe not on this show, because all of these athletes are creatures of routine and habit. And generally speaking, that routine or those habits come at a certain pace. And they do it over and over and over and over ad nauseum. And so when you call timeout, it allows them to just get their routine, just like they practice all the time. I think you're better off making them scramble. That's not to say they don't, for example, field goals. That's not to say they don't scramble once they're all the run on the field, kick the field goal. But typically they don't. Typically it's after practice and whatever they're doing it, and there's a regular routine. And I think I'm sure someone's done a study. You're playing into that routine. In free throws, it's the same thing. Whatever you can do to disrupt that rhythm. So, for example, here's what I used to do because I was a jackass. So when I scouted, and I took it very seriously, I would you'll probably like this a lot. So I would make note of a guy that was likely going to shoot free throws late in games. If he was the type of guy that got to the line and stayed on the line, especially after he took his first one, okay? Does he like to keep his foot right on that spot, which is very common, okay? If I saw that, well, then I started subbing 1, 2, 3. Just hold on, ref. Here comes another. Hold on, ref. Another one. I used to always tell my team, I want that motherfucker to grow roots into the ground because that'll stiffen him up, right? That he's not practicing waiting that long to shoot a free throw,
right.
Or if I couldn't do that, I needed my best rebounders in or whatever, I would call a timeout because I'd want him to have to start over again. He likes that on the line. Whatever I can do to not let him feel like he's back at home in practice is what I would do. And we in the NBA sub after the first free throw, right? So what I always tell my players is this is everyday practice. When they're on their own, I tell them to do this. Get on the line, make your free throw, step off the line, stay in the circle. Step off the line, stay in the circle, and then step back in. Because once you have the ball in your hands, they can't do anything.
Right.
Now, you'll sometimes hear a horn.
Yeah.
I tell them when that happens, throw it to the referee right away. All right? If he throws it back to you, you're back in your routine.
Yeah.
Normally, they'll hold it, say, what the fuck, scorekeeper, are you doing? Right. So, and in high school, which is not as professional, you have to take my word for it, never once would I ever want our scorekeeper or the timekeeper to blow the horn. But on the road, you got that a lot.
Yeah, for
sure. I would really be embarrassed if that ever happened. But on the road, you get that, especially in key moments. And they say it's an accident, whatever.
Right. Done on purpose, for sure.
Yeah. Throw it to the referee, start over.
I mean, so really what you're saying, David, it's about disrupting, because I'm sure every player has a mental clock in their brain, right, of how they want to do it. You want to disrupt that clock, whatever it is.
Disrupt the rhythm. Disrupt the rhythm. So I tell my players, if I start a stopwatch, the millisecond you get the ball in your hands from the referee to the millisecond it leaves your finger pads, it should be exactly the same every single time. So, conversely, if there's anything I can do, first of all, I can do something before he shoots a free throw, like bump him or whatever, that's fine. Whatever I can do to detract from that rhythm, distract from that rhythm, you have your best chance of making something good happen.
No, that's good stuff. All right, our next question is
good question. I like that question.
John from Connecticut. Good job, Adam. Our second question is John from Connecticut. It seems as though Wemby's teammates have a difficulty effectively passing the ball to him. You mentioned in an earlier episode that it takes some time getting used to a player that size. If you were teaching players how to effectively pass the ball to Wemby, how would you do it?
Well, I have a philosophy in feeding players, it's based on who the defender is as much as anything. So if I'm taller than my defender, I'm going to try to fake down to try to sit that defender down more and then throw up. And if I'm smaller than my defender, but I want the ball inside, if Adrian Danley was a hell of a post player at 6'4", right? I'm going to fake up to try to get that defender to tall up a little bit, and then I'm going to throw down, right? The idea is to throw it away from where the defender can get to it, okay? In the case of Victor, who's so light to begin with, I think it's really important to fake pass more, get that defender to maneuver some, and allow Victor to even seal his guy even better, get better footing. Pace matters because if you throw it too slowly, he's so light in the ass. That's a athletic phrase. That he's more easily moved. So while that ball is traveling, he's going to get nudged and pushed and kneed. Get there quicker. Practice it that way. It's an interesting question because I think passing's I've written an article maybe once years ago, The Lost Art of Passing. I watched a couple games the other night, both G League and NBA last night, where it's just astounding how many bad passes there were. Not turnover; those are separate.
Right.
Guys are
passes,
but they can't catch and shoot because the pass is so bad, and it's a lost art. It's not just a lost art. It is a poorly scouted talent. We don't scout it well enough, and we don't value it well enough. Ask a shooter; they'll tell you. I promise you. they will tell you that they like certain guys to pass them the ball because there's a spin to it. There's a high called hyper accuracy to it. And with Victor being so tall, yeah, you probably the first thing you have to do is I'd make guys every day in practice. I don't know if they did this or not. Overthrow him 5 times in a row.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Overthrow him 5 times in a row. Try to make each one a little bit less egregious, and find out just the range of where he can get to and not lose his position, whatever. That'll give you some idea of just how much more range he has than almost any player they've ever played with ever.
Yeah, no,
probably more than anyone.
I totally see it. And their games, because I've watched a number of their games so far this season, and like where they're throwing the passes to him too, I'm like, you're throwing it at his ankles, like that. Yeah. Like he can't get that.
Yeah, unless he's playing against an 8-footer, you should be throwing it up.
Right.
In almost every case, there's some exceptions, but very rare. Throw it lower. Always throw it to the opposite of where the defender is in terms of positioning, where he is horizontally and then vertically. Taller guy, throw it lower. Smaller guy, throw it higher. Yeah,
makes total sense. I have a follow-up from John's excellent question here, David. Okay. This is from me. Do you think playing with players like Vassell, Keldon Johnson, and Jeremy Sohan, who are not intuitive passers to begin with, is that problematic for Victor's development?
To some degree, certainly. It's one of the problems as a team is Jeremy has the ability, I think, to be a playmaking small forward. But what he isn't right now, anyway, is good at getting by someone and getting the easy dish for the layup or dunk. He's not good with the ball. He's not super fast. He's just not good at that yet. Maybe one day he will be. It's tough to see that, but it's possible. So that's one issue. There's nothing easy. And yeah, I think Devin's a fine passer. He's not a gifted one. None of those guys are gifted passers for sure. Right. So the answer is, yeah, it's somewhat problematic. But there's very few gifted. Like he'd score a lot more points playing with Tyrese Haliburton.
Yeah. We'll talk about him later. Yeah.
If you're the Spurs, and I don't know how good the Spurs are going to be as a franchise. I know they were amazing. That doesn't mean they'll be amazing going forward.
Right.
They've got to find at least one real lead guard, I think, that can create off the bounce, both kick out threes as well as easy shots in the paint, because you're drawing the big guy to help you.
Well, that makes total sense. All right. Our last question is from Daniel. Daniel recalls a few years back, David, that you told a story that when you met with Tyrese Maxey and his dad, you told him that he could be Kyle Lowry-esque and that Tyrese was disappointed with that. And Daniel remembers you saying,
200 million.
He's made 200 million, and that's a nice goal to have. And the family was okay with that. Now that Maxey's taking a huge leap, Daniel would love to hear you reflect on that story and the progress Maxey has made.
Yeah, so basically, let's remember now. So I don't follow high school basketball really at all. But I was told he led the EYBL in scoring. He goes to Kentucky, where he doesn't really score. You could look it up, but I don't think his numbers were anything beyond pedestrian as a college player for the 1 year he was at Kentucky. I don't remember him shooting great. I don't remember him scoring well. Yet he played with great pace. He did not play the way he's playing now. That person was not a Kentucky that I saw. That's why you have to go scout these guys in high school, where they have a little bit of a different feel to it. That's why he dropped. He was supposed to be a top 10 pick. He didn't go top 10.
No.
He was supposed to be a lottery pick. So in speaking to his dad and his son, the dad and Tyrese, when I saw a bulldogishness in him, a real toughness in him, but also I thought he tried to play winning basketball and not selfish basketball. That's what I saw on tape anyway. For a guy that was supposed to be such a great scorer, he wasn't, but I thought he really tried to play the right way. And I thought with that physicality that he had and that toughness that he had, without seeing the pure blazing speed that he clearly does have, because I didn't see that at Kentucky, I thought there was a Lowry aspect to him, and who also couldn't shoot coming into the draft. He couldn't shoot from Villanova. That was a learned skill. And, yeah, I could tell in his voice. I don't remember if it was Zoom anymore. I don't think so. I could tell in his voice he didn't seem like that was such a great thing. But I don't remember if it was 200 million or 300 million. Whatever the number was, it was a big fucking number. And plus minus monster.
Huge.
And, I mean, I laugh at the idea now that people remember Maxey as something that wasn't maybe going to be this guy. Yeah. Because he's that guy.
And so Daniel used the word superstardom. I hesitate to put him there yet. I don't think he's quite at that but I think he's getting there. Do you right now? I mean, it's early. We're only 10, 11 games in.
Yeah.
He's an all-star level player right now. I don't think he's quite all NBA yet, but he's getting there.
Do you have his stats in front of you? Do you know how old he is?
He is 23.
Yeah. I think that all of that's possible for him. It's hard to be a superstar. First of all, the league, I know there's exceptions. The league is really tilted towards lottery picks to begin with. They are given so much more rope and so much more royal jelly that this guy wasn't a lottery pick. And he's not 7 foot like Jokic or Giannis, right? He's just a little guard. 6'3". I don't care what they list him at. He's 6'3" in shoes, maybe. But he's got a chance to be superstar. That would be, if you're that size, you got to lead the league in scoring. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
What's he averaging now?
27.
Yeah. He's got a chance to be. I mean, he's in that conversation anyway of a perennial all-star, second best player on a contending team. Joel gets a lot of spotlight.
For sure.
The drama of Philadelphia gets a lot of spotlight. But we're going to talk a lot about Haliburton, and for good reason. Tyrese is going to be in that conversation. They're the same age.
Yeah.
They're both 23.
42% from three for Maxey on almost 8 attempts per game.
And let me just say this right now: 42% from three, and incredible speed driver.
Yes.
Right. So that combination, that was Jordan Poole in his prime. Sadly, he's 24 years old. He's out of his prime.
He's already out of his prime.
Right. But when Jordan Poole was scintillating, it was incredibly fast with the ball and also good shooter, if not great shooter. Well, that's Maxey. And again, plays the right way, whereas Jordan Poole, I have some questions about him.
Yeah.
I'm not alone. But Tyrese has all that.
No, yeah. And listen, if he is that player, right, and he's whirling on that with Embiid playing like an MVP, well, now you're talking with the role players they have, that is a contending team for sure.
I mean, 2 definite all-star / all-NBA potential guys, yeah.
Yeah, so good stuff there, guys. Again, we'll do more of these. TrueHoop at TrueHoop.com to get inside Coach Thorpe's big basketball brain. Okay, Tyrese Haliburton. This is someone, David, who last year really opened a lot of eyes in his first full season with Indiana. He was an all-star for the first time. He got injured into the year, and had he not, he would have been an All-NBA.
Certainly I picked him for that.
Yes, when we did our list, he was on for us. He was outstanding. And so I was just kind of watching a bunch of games of theirs recently and just checking out some stuff that he's doing. And his last 2 games, and again, I know, super small sample size theater, 58 points, 32 assists, 0 turnovers. And
that's both against Philly.
Yes. And I was like, whoa.
On the road.
And you talked about this in the preseason. You're like, Indiana's going to play fast. And boy, do they get moving. And to play at that kind of speed and not turn the ball over like a lot, that takes skill, right? Because when you play fast, mistakes can happen. And I just really like what I'm seeing from Haliburton. So I read an article by Rob Mahoney of The Ringer on Haliburton. I thought there were some interesting quotes. This one's from Carlisle. And it's about Tyrese's willingness to pass the ball. And, we've talked about it. Pop says it. Many coaches say how the ball has energy. That's something that Tyrese realizes a lot of guys don't, Carlisle says. They like having the ball and like controlling things, but he sees a connection with lightning fast ball movement, teammate engagement, and the positive impact of getting the ball back live. And I just thought, that's interesting stuff. And when you read the article and you hear from his teammates,
and I read it,
they love playing with him because who doesn't want to play with someone who's going to give them the basketball, right? And there is a way in which he has a connectedness with his team. And it made me think of you, David, and your definition of leadership, which you define as breathing spirit into the hearts and minds of others. And it seems, from what this article is saying, from his coaches, the equipment guys, and his teammates, that Tyrese breathes spirit into his teammates.
I think that's a very fair assessment. I do think that he does that. He's first of all, let's talk about comps, like historical comps. Who do you think? I know who he is. Who do you think he is? You can use present day, past day, doesn't matter.
So the only thing I'm thinking, because of the assist to turnover ratio, at least, and it's small, I was thinking Chris Paul, but he tries a degree of difficulty passes that Paul doesn't. And it's not, I don't think it's because Paul can't do it. I just think that's just not in his makeup. Whereas Tyrese will try harder passes that he pulls off a lot of the time. And he scores at a rate, at least right now, a little bit better than Chris Paul. So I'm going to say Chris Paul-ish.
Yeah. When I tell you who it is, you're going to agree right away. He's Steve Nash.
Yeah.
He's an unbelievable shooter.
Yeah. I think he scores more and he wants to score more.
I think. I mean, that team was a little bit different. Yeah. He doesn't have a choice. He doesn't have Amari Stoudemire on his team. Right. Not even close.
Right.
There's no one else that can score like Amari.
Amari. Yeah. He has to score.
Yeah. So, but I think if you put him on that team, he'd play like Steve Nash.
Yeah. Okay.
The game's more weaponized at point guard now for sure. Helped somewhat by Nash. But that also means the ball's in his hands a ton. His usage rate isn't crazy. He is a willing passer. He normally he's not a connecting passer. He's an assist guy.
What you mean by that?
Okay. So the connector makes the first easy pass almost always, gets everyone moving, the ball's flying. They're not going to get the assist for that a lot because the next guy, the guy who throws it may not be open. He throws it one more time. Now the guy's open. You get a Gretzky. He ain't a Gretzky guy. He wants the assist. It's fine. He got paid for it. Deservedly so. I thought he was worth every dollar they gave him the max extension. It's his franchise. It's his team. Everyone knows it. And so he not that he won't throw it early. Sometimes he will, but mostly he's waiting for you to be open to get the shot and not just be the next guy to passing. Nash was very similar. Nash had the ball in his hands a ton. And partly his team was smarter for that, as probably the Pacers are too, because he's making a better decision and he's good enough. But all of it starts with his scoring ability. If he couldn't score, he'd be Ricky Rubio. But he can score. Look at his numbers at the rim.
Yep.
Mid-range.
Yep.
Three.
Yeah, he's
all like borderline elite, if not elite. All three levels. Yeah. You're surprised when he misses.
Yeah.
And he does have that very infectious personality. We talk about royal jelly. Well, he's getting gallons of it. Like it's his team. And they pay him. They treat him as such. He can do no wrong. No one even cares that they can't guard anyone. And he's a part of that problem. It doesn't matter. It's all puppy dogs and ice cream with Tyrese. That can change. There was a time when people thought that about Harden. When you keep losing when it matters most because you can't guard whatever, the world comes back around a little bit. So we're gonna be able to evaluate Tyrese at some point in those situations. But for now, it's all puppy dogs and ice cream.
David, do you see one of the things you talked about with point guards a lot is understanding and knowing that balance of when to score versus when to set up, right?
That's right.
Was one of your criticisms of Jrue Holiday. You're like, he just doesn't have enough of that I got to score now thing in him, right? I think
when he should be scoring.
When he should be. I think Chris Paul balanced that pretty well. Like when I can score and when I'm just
I don't remember because I'm old, but I don't know that you're right. I've always felt like there was more for him.
Okay, fair.
I think Chris Paul can really score.
You can.
Right. Remember the famous 60-point game or 61-point game in high school? Yep. He probably could average 50 in high school. So that gives you some idea.
Right.
That he scored 61. You just don't do that because grandpa died.
Right.
All due respect to his grandfather.
Right.
He probably could have done 50 a lot. And this is the point guard in high school. Yeah. You know? I think Tyrese is really good at that balance. I do. Because he's such a good finisher. That's the thing. If you're not such a good finisher, well, then you're kind of a ball hog. But he is. So you can't. I remember Sean Marion gave a quote one time. The way Rick Carlisle played the Suns in the postseason, they tried to solve the pick and roll with just two players, meaning the two guys guarding Nash and the screener were the only ones trying to solve that action. Everyone else stay home. What they didn't want is to chase Nash around and all the other Suns around the whole game. Nash still gets his 22, 23, and 15 assists, and you're whitewashed. Okay? So the idea was make Nash score a bunch, limit everyone else, and we have a chance to win. And that was, you can look it up, I believe that was Nash's highest scoring playoff series of all time. Like he scored over 30 a few times. And Sean Marion was asked after it about it. He said, if Steve Nash is the one shooting it, none of us ever worry about it being a shot.
Right.
Like he's proven himself so much now that he's dying to pass to us, that if he's not, it's the right decision. And I thought that was a hell of a testament to Nash. And I would say the Pacers players feel the same way about Tyrese.
No doubt. And Tyrese says that, it says in the article, that balance you talk about, the biggest challenge for me is finding that balance. There's probably a world out there where I could realistically average 15 assists. There's a world out there where I could average 25 points. Well, I'm trying to find a mixture of both, right? And in the piece, it talks about how his dad, made him watch Magic Johnson tape, right, as he was young. And Magic is the ultimate, we've seen Magic as a rookie center in Game 7 of the NBA Finals score 40-something points, right? So he could score also if he needed to, but there are certain players who that first inclination is to, let's get that rock. Let's get these guys open and feed them, because there's a joy, right? We talk about the Warriors and how they play. There's joy when everybody's weaponized and everybody feels like I'm part of this too.
You read the article.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember Ben Matherin's comment?
Yes.
Do you remember what it was exactly, more or less?
Kind of. Give it to me.
Something along the lines of he thinks he's Dwayne Johnson.
Yes. Yes.
And no one's been able to prove him wrong.
Right. Yes. Correct.
Come on, bro. You're bad right now.
Yeah,
you're still a bad player. You got Tyrese on your team, and you're still a net. When you're on the court, the Pacers are worse.
Yeah.
You've got to grow it up to do. But he's a lottery pick.
So he'll get a lot of chance too.
He'll get every ounce of royal jelly that they have spared from. Obi Toppin needs some royal jelly, and Tyrese is giving it to him.
He has given him some royal jelly.
Their pace unlocks him more. And listen, they're 7-3.
Mm-hmm.
They have some depth. They just lost Daniel Tice, who wasn't playing for them anyway. He actually is pretty good. I think he's going to Phoenix.
Clippers.
He's taking place of Plumlee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought he was going to go to Phoenix, and he's going to Clippers because of Plumlee being out. That's good for them.
Mm-hmm.
And TJ McConnell is in the rotation. I don't know how long that'll be, but he's still good.
He's playing well, yeah.
Yeah, their Nesmith is benefiting from Tyrese also because of his speed, transition game. Yeah, I don't think it's going to last personally.
Right.
But they're doing well now.
Number 2 in pace. And that's
exciting. And they'll threaten number 1 all season.
For sure. And you see it. One of their problems, David, as you mentioned, their defense isn't good, is, you mentioned Haliburton. It's their 26th or 27th, the bottom of the league. They also play small. There were times in that game where Aaron Nesmith is on Joel Embiid, and I'm like, what in the hell is that?
Yeah.
You're going to foul that dude every time he gets the ball.
That might have been, I watched the game, that might have been Jalen Smith got hurt. And that is not a small part of this story. I haven't looked at his metrics the last couple of days. Cleaning the glass is normally where I'll look first. But Jalen Smith is vastly improved. He's making shots. You could look to see what his 3-point percentage is. Blocking shots, rebounding, running the floor well, effectively. Does not have good hands, in my opinion, in the half court. But catch and shoot is fine. He's just not going to catch the tough pick and roll pass.
Right.
But still, they're getting production from him. That's a lottery pick from Phoenix that had not gone well. I think he's even a free agent this year. And he's doing well. Let's see if he comes back soon. So they're bigger when Jalen gets there. Then they have more size. And Isaiah Jackson too, but Jarris Walker can't get on the court.
Right. Yeah. He's not quite ready yet.
No, apparently he's not the only rookie. The Raptors should be doing the same thing with Grady Dick, and they keep playing him. What's
the analogy you use for rookies in the NBA? I think you say it's like a toddler in the middle of the highway with traffic going.
Yeah. He has no which way is up. I'm guessing Jarris hasn't played. Grady is playing. It's not going well. When he's on the court, it's 4 and 5, basically.
Yeah.
So, but they need Jarris. They need, like you said, they need more size. So they have Obi, who's not there yet. He's not figuring out yet for them. But he made some progress in that Philly game for sure. He had a good game. If Jarris could get the other minutes, well, then they at least have a legit size at 4 all game long.
So we've seen teams, David, in the past be elite or, top 5, top 10 on offense and be bottom of the league in defense. But with a player like Haliburton as your quarterback, for lack of a better phrase, will his ability to get them into good offense in close games mitigate some of that porous defense?
Well, it does in the sense that good shots normally translate to more makes, but also better rebounding, spacing, and also better transition defense. And so one reason why any team is bad on defense typically is because they're getting beat down the floor. That shouldn't be a problem with a quarterback like Tyrese at the 1. My concern for them in the postseason, as they're currently constructed, is this guy's not a 7-footer like Jokic and Embiid and Giannis, and he's not 6'8" like Tatum. He's just a guard. And I think I think teams will really scheme up hard hedging, blitzes, the whole thing. and just try to make the Pacers beat you with Tyrese playing off the ball some. And that team we see now isn't ready for that. They have a long way to go to get there.
Yeah,
but who cares?
Yeah,
if they lose first round, it doesn't matter. Make the playoffs would be amazing for them.
They are young, and it's like, let's put it this way: bright time. The future looks bright in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So they should be happy with that. All right, we're gonna talk about the in-season tournament after this break, and we'll actually lead off with Indianapolis' group. So everybody, stay tuned. All right, David. Continuing our Pacers talk. I'm looking at the in-season tournament, and they are in Group A in the East, and right now they lead Group A with a 2-0 record. And I was thinking for a team like Indiana, we just mentioned previously that in the playoffs, people are going to scheme, all that. Probably not going to work out so well for them. But I was thinking, if it looks like they will, they advance out of group and they get to the knockout round. That number 2 or number 1 in pace and the style they play might work perfectly in a knockout situation because anything can happen, right? And if they're particularly hot that night and things are going well, no turnovers, and Tyrese is another streak where it's 60 points and 40 assists and 0 turnovers, they're going to be hard to beat. So this might be a nice thing for them. Playoffs, you're not going to do anything there, but you win this is a nice step in the right direction.
Zach Lowe's on a show the other day with Zach Lowe with Kevin Pelton, I think. We're talking about how the play-in tournament.
Or the in-season or the play-in?
I'm sorry. The in-season tournament. Were you talking about in-season? Yeah,
in-season.
Same thing. I keep making that mistake. The in-season tournament is kind of built for the underdog. It's just one game. And so their pace is not easy to adjust to right away. They can really speed you up and get you uncomfortable if you try to play the same pace. You're going to have to do some serious coaching, which these guys are not used to doing until the postseason. If you plan on winning a one-and-done situation against a team that plays as fast as they do, to try to make sure you don't try to match their pace. Stick with and if you're doubling whatever, that's only going to help the pace even more because now it's 4-on-3 everywhere else. It could very well play into their hands, although they're not a team likely to win any game that they're not shooting well because of their defense. But they can get better at defense.
No doubt. And so this coming Friday, we have a bunch of in-season games coming up. And in that Group A, as I mentioned, the Pacers are ahead 2-0 in the group. Remember, you play 4 games, so go undefeated, you get out of your group. And if there's a tie, point differential, that's what dictates who wins and moves out from there. Sixers and Hawks is going to be an interesting game because the Hawks are 1-0 and the Sixers are 1-1. So if Philly wants to win this tournament, they got to win this game because you go 1-2, probably not going to happen for you. You're probably done realistically. And if the Hawks go 2-0, they got a chance now. They're right pace with the Pacers, and they can potentially be a wild card team, right? And again,
or they can beat the Pacers when they play them,
or they get beat the Pacers, go up 3-0, right? And I've been noticing, David, in a lot of these games, oftentimes, and you see in the NBA, when a game's over, a coach knows, right? And they just take their guys out, and it's like, okay, we're gonna. In a lot of these on Tuesdays, especially, the Lakers kept trying to score, and because they knew margin of victory matters. The Wolves Warriors game, same thing. The Wolves started to pull away. It's like, all right, but Kirk, we got to keep scoring because even if we lose, we only lose by 2. That's huge for our margin of victory. And look, I love it. I think it's great.
It's different. I like it too. It is different, and this is something the NBA wants. They want fans to care about it, and so the players have to care about it. Have you seen on another subject, but it's still in season? Have you seen someone did this where they used different show themes to be the courts?
Oh no! Like TV shows?
A Game of Thrones court. Ooh. It was hot. It was cool. Yeah, and also sponsored. I mean, if you're a movie, if you got a big movie coming out, you sponsor a court, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty smart, man.
Listen,
that's coming. That's coming.
You know me, David. I am down for all. Listen, folks, I watch European football. Okay, the jerseys they got all. I don't care. Who cares what the sponsor is? No. It says Emirates on the front, O2. I don't give a crap what's on the front. None of that matters. What matters is the play on. But if that's going to help generate more interest, I am all for it. Sign me up. Yeah. Going through the standings again, Group B, the Heat are atop that group, 2-0. Bucks 1-0. Hornets 1-1. Wizards are out at 0-2. Knicks are 0-1. They could do some stuff. The Bucks and Hornets, that's actually an interesting game because the Bucks have to win that game to go 2-0 to keep pace with the Heat and Knicks Wizards. If the Knicks want to get out of that 0-1 hole, and they have to win out 3-1 and then hope that their tiebreaker can get them into that wild card. The Wizards, you'd mentioned them earlier, David. Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma are a comedy of errors. And as a basketball coach like you are and someone enjoy, I'm sure that what you watch them do, first of all, you don't watch bad teams.
I am watching them.
Okay. I'm sure what drives you insane what they do. And I'm just like, do you guys even care?
Yeah.
And I think Poole even said something to this effect, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he had said, look, my legacy is secure until the basketball with the championship I've won. Now it's time of like having my own team, as I'm paraphrasing, and doing my own thing. And it's like, in essence, David, he's already got his ring and he got paid. Like, for someone like him with that mindset, that seems like a bad combination.
The Wizards are so bad this year, they've already been eliminated from next year's in-season tournament. Jordan took a three maybe in the preseason, maybe early in the regular season from the corner.
And he turned around.
Like that was it for me. Yeah. Like that's you're done. Yeah. In my world, you're done. I feel really badly for their head coach, who I think is a terrible coach, but apparently a really great guy and might be a great assistant and maybe one day be a good head coach again. If he gets another chance, it's a house on fire now. It's really terrible. They were up 19 and a half time against the Raptors, who were not good, and lost. And after the game, I saw Darko and him hug, and Wes hug, and Darko was elated because when you're a first-year coach, you're not sure there's going to be year two.
Correct.
Especially when you're Serbian. And I could see in Wes Unsould's face. It looked to me like he knows, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
I can't even beat an average team up 19 at half. Yeah, I really felt for him. They're just terrible. There's no accountability to players. They're not serious about basketball.
No, unserious. Unserious.
I start with ownership and management. They've done a bad job, and Bilal's got talent.
Mm-hmm.
Koulibaly's got talent.
Yeah, we got to get him out of Washington, David. We got to somehow get him.
Get better people in, and the new GM now. Let's see how it goes. But they're just a mess right now. Sad.
Yeah, no, they are. Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma will be frequent guests on Shaq and the Fool this season for sure.
Is that so? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, Shaq still does that. Group C: Celtics 1-0, Nets 2-1. Raptors haven't played an in-season tournament game yet this season. So what'll happen is they'll backload. So every Tuesday, Friday from here on out, they're going to play an in-season tournament game. Bulls are 0-1, Magic 0-1. Look, that Celtics-Raptors game kind of matters, right? Raptors first one, Celtics go up 2-0. Everyone thinks they can win that. And the Nets are 2-1. They win their last one and go 3-1 with a good margin. You got a shot at a wild card potentially. Moving over to the West, Lakers up 2-0 in their group. Jazz also 2-0 in that group, David. And their margins of victories, Lakers, and I said, they kept winning. Up there's this plus 15. Jazz is plus 11. The Suns are in that group. They're 0-1. They play the Jazz on Friday. That is a pivotal game for Phoenix if they want to continue on. And they got to win big just to get to 1-1. If for somehow, because it's no guarantees, the Jazz win that and go 3-0, woo! Because again, I think for these younger teams, it's kind of nice for them to have this, right? The ones who know we ain't doing nothing. First of all, the Jazz aren't even going to make the playoffs. But, postseason is not a thing for us. But this could be something. And if you're Phoenix, come on. Like, you got to want to establish some things and work it out. My poor Memphis Grizzlies in that group, they're 0-3, eliminated. It's a wrap for them. As you mentioned on Monday, it might be a wrap for Taylor Jenkins. I don't know. We'll see how things continue to progress for those guys. Oh, I should mention this. In your Minnesota piece, and I should tisk Travis for not giving me a heads up first. And I know you just mentioned it, that you weren't saying they were doing this, but you had said, well, maybe they could trade for someone like Jaren Jackson Jr. I almost fell out of my seat reading your article, David. Never! We can't train Jarod, but I know your thought process behind that.
Yeah, it's just come up different ways. Both teams, could have some success. Memphis offensively. Right. But yeah, I wouldn't expect to trade, but you never know.
Listen.
You're talking about so the West is Phoenix.
Yeah,
that's a big one coming.
Huge. They got to win that one.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I have not asked any players. I need to. These guys grow up. I can tell you this from experience, just as a coach. Tournament play kind of gives me the tingles.
Yes,
they
They want to win this.
Yeah, I have memories as a high school player and a college player. And I have memories of my first years in coaching, the holiday tournaments you go to, and you're in a hotel, and players from other states would come, and sometimes they're really. As we got really good, Kerry Kittles is in the tournament, and very, very Woj is in the tournament. Not the reporter Woj.
I know who you mean.
Steve from Duke. Yeah, he was in the Christian Brothers Academy. He was in our tournament.
CBA, Woodcroft. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw some great from teams from Miami, and there's just something special. And then, of course, holiday tournaments, get out on campus a little bit, and then the NCAA tournament's the best, and the conference tournament. So I need to ask them, like, how do you feel about these? These games don't mean as much because they seem more normal, but that's going to change pretty soon when we get to Vegas.
Well, it'll change when you realize when your coach says, "Hey, we're 3-0. Tonight's an in-season game. We want to win this group so we get to go to knockout round and go to Vegas." Guys will be like, "Oh, wait, yep, we're in." Also, Anthony Davis, I don't know if you heard these comments. He said, a player on the team, like, I'm not going to tell you who it was, says, "Guys, we beat Phoenix. We're one step closer to that $500,000. I never had that before. We need that." He's like, and Davis is like, we all felt like, yeah, listen, these guys are among the most competitive people in the world already to be NBA players.
Yep.
And for people who think, oh, $500,000 doesn't matter, clearly you've not spent any time around rich people, because rich people, you know what they like to do? Get more money. Okay. Yeah. And they get competitive about that.
Well, it's getting more money for doing something they already do anyway.
Correct.
Yeah. It's not like you have to do a TV shoot.
Right.
They're just playing hoops like we always do. I can get paid even more.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, who wouldn't want that?
These guys they're going to get, and once that knockout round starts, you're going to, I already see in these games in the group stage, they're like, they know. They're like, oh, this matters a little bit for us. So I'm excited for it. And then rounding out the rest of the Western Conference groups, Group B, Nuggets are up 2-0, look like a wrecking ball. Rockets are 1-0. If they beat the Clippers, who are 0-2, and listen, that's very possible because the Clippers aren't playing well, and the Rockets get to 2-0. Now we're looking interesting in Group B. And then Group C, the Timberwolves are up 2-0, Kings are 1-0, Warriors are 1-1. Spurs are going to probably pretty much be done. They're 0-2, and the Thunder are 1-2, so they're going to have to, they're probably done as well. Just had a bad night to lose some games there. But I'm excited, David. Here's some other news I want to share about the in-season tournament. There's rumors that Netflix is interested in purchasing the in-season tournament.
Really?
Yes. And
so there you go with your courts. Yep.
Not only that, David. So
House of Cards, not anymore, but it would have had a nice court.
In Netflix, I'm sure, as you know, you talked about it. You watched the quarterback docuseries. Yeah. Netflix has 3 docuseries going on that highlight other sports. Full Swing for golf.
Yep.
Point Break for tennis. And Drive to Survive, I believe it's called, for Formula One racing.
Yeah.
And they are wildly popular and successful. Because, listen, I know most of us we are fans of the sport, but there are a lot of people, and I am as well, who enjoy these people as people and want to get to know. Tell me more about Tyrese Haliburton. They want to know what makes these guys tick. And these docuseries types of things gives you some what it's like behind the scenes. So the Netflix guys are already talking about, if they do end up buying it exclusively, they're going to create some docuseries around the in-season tournament, which makes perfect sense as your lead-in. And it would be fantastic. And again, Netflix's job, if anybody isn't unaware, is to make money. And you all think it's an entertainment business. Entertainment is the vehicle to make profit. The CEO's job is to maximize shareholder value. How do I maximize shareholder value? Have content that people are going to want to watch and pay for, and advertisers are going to want to advertise during. And Netflix has been talking about getting into live sports, and this is the perfect way. It's not huge. They just buy the in-season tournament only. Yeah. So the only way you can watch it is if you have Netflix. Like, that is huge. So that wouldn't happen, David, until when the deal currently expires right now, which is the end of next season, 2024-25.
Right.
And then they can potentially buy it.
It would be called the Netflix in-season tournament.
Probably they branded something like that or something. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Who's the MVP of the tournament is going to be what? Do you know?
I don't know what. I think it's just NBA Cup MVP. Yeah,
they're going to give it to someone. Yeah, yes. maybe LeBron.
It's also not only that, they're doing a tournament team too. Like we do for All NBA and all that. So you can do an all tournament team as well.
That's a little bit too much for me.
Which
I like the MVP part though. I
don't care about an all tournament team. That works.
Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter either way. But they're going to name that trophy.
So, yeah, I don't know
the
what.
MVP trophy. Yeah, they're going to name it something. Yeah.
Maybe whoever the inaugural person is, maybe if that person has, like, if it's LeBron, yes, he has a level of cachet because of who he already is. That might work, right? Someone established.
I mean, what else can you give LeBron? They have to make up something else. That'd be a good one. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's got to get something.
Oh, I mean, he for sure.
What does Jordan have?
Is Jordan the God? No, that's not. I was going to say he's not the Finals MVP. That's Bill Russell. He's not.
Right.
He's not the conference. Is he the conference? Eastern Conference MVP?
We need to look it up.
Magic is the Western Conference MVP. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's got to be Bird for the East.
Yes, good call. Yes,
for sure.
Good call.
If there's one's left, one's right.
Yeah,
like they're connected. They're connected. They're connected forever in our minds. They entered the league the same time. The whole thing. Jordan's gonna have something, obviously, but yeah. So I'm just curious. Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
No, this is exciting, and and having it out in Vegas, the players will definitely be excited about that.
Yeah.
All right, David. Draymond Green was suspended for 5 games for his rear naked chokehold of Rudy Gobert in Tuesday night's game, and yes, that is a legit MMA term. Like that was a rare naked chokehold. What Draymond Green did. That's exactly what he did. And, I watched it numerous times, live, rewound it, watched it again on Synergy. And this, to me, David, was an example of a player who has been essentially empowered to behave that way, doing what he did. Draymond has always played with an edge and often goes over that line. For those of you Chappelle fans out there, you'll know the skit, where it said that you are a habitual line stepper. Like, that is Draymond Green, a habitual line stepper and line crosser going over, as we saw last year, knocking Jordan Poole out in practice, a million incidents. And I just, at some point, because he's so good at basketball, they tolerate it inside the Warriors organization. But it's
they're paying him.
Correct. And they're paying him handsomely, right? Listen, they made their choice. They jettisoned Jordan Poole and kept Draymond and extended him. What is that telling Draymond? Oh, what I do is perfectly fine and acceptable, and I'm going to keep being me and doing that. But at some point, David, the league and or the Warriors are going to be like, the juice ain't worth the squeeze, my guy. Like, we've got to end this. I thought Rudy handled it really well because honestly, David, watching it as many times as I did, nothing Rudy did was malicious at all. He was literally trying to de-escalate the situation. When you watch Draymond, he ran with bad intentions behind Rudy to go after him. And of course, those two have a history, all that. But to me, 5 games is light in my opinion, but is what it is.
I agree with you on the 5 games being light. I agree with that. I was really, I don't know him, but if I did, I'd be very proud of Rudy Gobert. And his comments afterwards were fantastic.
They were great.
He predicted it. Mm-hmm. He claims that this is going to happen since Steph was already out. And he wanted to win the game. Mm-hmm. He knows getting kicked out does not help his team win the game.
Correct.
There's a lesson there.
Mm-hmm.
There's really a lesson there. He just allowed himself to be choked, knowing this guy is going to get kicked out, and we're not going to win this game, which matters.
He held his hands up. He said, look, I'm not doing anything.
Yep, exactly what you'd want. I mean, there's not 10 players in the league that would do that.
Correct.
I give him a ton of credit. And Draymond, I'm almost at a loss. I don't know what he's thinking. It was first of all, I do believe you try to break up fights by grabbing your own guy.
But if you look at it, the way
play
was right in front of him. That was the first person that was in front of him.
But Rudy wasn't clearly not trying to harm Clay at all.
At all.
Yeah, and Draymond has no excuses. The Warriors, they won't do it, but they should add another 5 games to the league suspension. They should just say we're adding 5. And if it blows the season, it blows the season. We got to pay this guy for years to come. We've got to see a difference. I just, I love players on the edge. I love that edginess and that competitive fire, but it's just a game, and you can't be choking dudes out.
I agree.
You can't be doing it.
What do you think, David, Steph Curry's got to be thinking when he watches this again? I know it's like old hat for him seeing Draymond do this, but at what point is Steph like, bro, enough?
Oh, I think we're way past that point. He's probably just understood this is what I'm going to get with this guy is all the amazing things he makes the Cuisinart go with his passing and screening, and he's such an anchor for our defense. And his fight is our fight. And we're gonna have to take this with it. We all have friends or acquaintances where we just have to put up with it. Maybe it's because we love their spouse, or their next door neighbors that you got to be close with because they're next door neighbors. Fighting your next door neighbors. I just think he's got to put on a professional or a coworker. He's a coworker.
Yeah,
and you got to put up with it.
Yeah, no, that's
and he throws it to Steph a lot.
That's true. I like that. All right, David. It is top 5 time.
I got a great quiz for you.
Quiz time. Okay.
Giving you 3 guesses.
Yeah.
Because I almost went with 4 only.
Oh, okay.
I think I don't like
why.
a 5th.
I think I know why. Yep.
There's no 5th.
Yeah, I agree.
There's 4, and then everyone's
I
or
agree. I agree.
So, who do you? I'm gonna give you 2 guesses.
Okay.
Who's my number 5? I'll give you a hint after the first one.
The Miami Heat.
No, I probably should have put them because they're on a 6-game winning streak. Yeah.
Okay.
They are deserving of number 5. I screwed up. They just had a bad start. But this team also is right there. I'll give you a hint. Someone we both know that is a very important person at TrueHoop.
Yeah.
Is going to be very happy when he hears this.
Oh my God! Someone we both know is gonna. Wow.
Who do we know that's a famous fan?
Oh.
Yes, you got it.
The New York Knicks.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to Randy.
Randy knows they played the toughest schedule in the league.
Yes, they
have.
And
they're fighting. They're doing fine.
They have.
So out of respect for Randy and that schedule, they're number 5 for me. But really, Miami should be number 5.
And they're adjusted net rating, David. They're 6th. So I mean.
Yeah, right. They're not far from me. Right.
So they're right.
Miami's
there.
below that.
Yeah, Miami's definitely below that.
Yeah.
Look, I had a tough time with 5. I'm not gonna lie. I was like Heat, Mavs, Knicks. I just like to your point. They're all. I'm not sold on any of them. I'm like
Dallas is okay too.
Right.
Yeah.
But I only gave it to Dallas because they have the better record. I went record as a tiebreaker, so I said fine.
You're not wrong.
But I don't. I'm not like yay Dallas. I'm just like okay.
Yeah, we still got. They have some stuff to prove. Timmy Hardaway got hurt last night.
Yes.
I don't know how he's going to be. We'll find out more today. He's been so good for them, taking charges, really like uncovering a new part of his game. It's been
had nice 31 at one point, like in the game. I was like, oh man, this guy, he's
really doing great.
All right, number 4.
I know we have the same top 4.
Of course,
there's only 4.
Right.
I'm going with the team I wrote about, and maybe they deserve higher than that, Minnesota. But we crawl before we walk, Jarod. We crawl before we walk.
I love it.
So I've got them at number 4. They did take it on the chin last night.
They did.
To Phoenix. So it was
second night of a back-to-back, to be fair.
But, and they had all 3 guys. Yeah.
No Beal, but whatever.
Oh, Beal didn't play? I saw the note that he was good.
The back, Listen, this team, the snake biting is. I think this is going to be them all season. It's going to be one of the 3 is going to be out at every point all season.
That's why you have 3. You still got 2. So I got many of 4. Who do you have? All right,
I put the Sixers at 4.
Yeah.
We flip-flopped them. Only because I just flip-flopped them just because, I like what Indiana did to them. Look, Joel was tired when they started racing him. Like, run that dude. Make Joel run. There were times where he did not cross half court. I was like, what?
A couple years ago when they played the Raptors in the playoffs, I thought Toronto would do a better job of making him run than they did. Indiana definitely did. Sorry, so we just flip-flopped Philly.
So Wolves are 3.
I have them at 4. I have it 3. And then to me, there's only one choice for number 1, which means Denver has to be number 2.
Yes, I agree with you. I put the Nuggets at 2, even though they are playing phenomenal basketball now.
They're playing great.
But the Celtics, David, and let's spend a little time as we close here talking about them. You mentioned on Monday's show that the starting 5's plus net rating is plus 40 something.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Kristaps Porzingis as your 3rd option is an embarrassment of riches. Derek White is doing some unbelievable stuff.
He's so good.
So
it's true.
Andrew and of course Tatum. It's just he's Jason Tatum.
Tatum and Brown as the afterthoughts.
I've said this a million times. You got now they have 3 all NBA caliber wings on defense for sure, and 2 on offense. I mean, that's hard to beat, man. Really, and they're competent. They know everyone knows what their role is. It's just hard to beat that, man. It really is.
It is. Yeah. It's they are right now to me if I would argue that there's not parity in the league, it's because there's one team way better than all the others. That Boston is like Golden State a couple years ago. Yeah.
So looking ahead right now,
5-6 years ago.
imagining our dream, both squads are healthy.
Boston versus Denver?
Yes. What I'm not going to ask you to predict it. What are problems that Boston causes for Denver and then vice versa?
Aaron Gordon can't guard both wing scorers.
Yes.
And Porzingis can really make Jokic have to play out on the perimeter, drag him out a little bit. Derek White and Drew can both guard Jamal.
Yeah.
I would give Boston. The only thing is Jokic is the best player on the court.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't like MPJ versus Brown or Tatum.
As him guarding one of them, you mean?
Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, I mean, not that they'll score every time. I just think Boston's a better team. Both teams have depth issues, though.
For sure. What about MPJ offensively versus that team?
Oh, I think they'll be just fine guarding him. Yeah. Now they're going to help him. They're going to help because you're going to have to help on Jokic. But I haven't seen the Jokic versus Porzingis matchup. They haven't played against each other a ton.
Yeah.
Maybe when KP was in Dallas a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, Jokic is Jokic. He's going to be great either way. But you're not going to have to help a whole lot on whoever Tatum, Brown, Drew, and Derek are guarding. That's a scary thought.
Yeah, you're right.
If they're healthy.
Yeah, if they're guarding one-on-one, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Well, listen, we are a long way away from that, and they'll play twice this season. There'll be some matchups. We hope that both teams are healthy.
For sure.
Give us a little bit of insight, not much, because the coaches won't do a ton of showing their hand, but it might be nice just to see, give us a little preview. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. Enjoy the basketball in-season tournament games Friday, and we will see you on Monday. Take care.